Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are opening up a file that is, well, it's honestly a bit deceptive.
It really is.
You look at the cover art, you look at the genre tags, you think, okay, I'm getting a standard alt-rock album, grunge, maybe some loud guitars, teenage angst.
And to be fair, you are getting the loud guitars. That part is definitely true.
Right, the sonic texture is there. But the source material we're looking at today, this album, Road to Recovery by the artist Hi-Fi, is doing something much, much more complex under all that noise. We aren't here to, review the bass lines or critique the mixing. We are here to really break down a psychological survival story.
It's basically a cartography project. That's the phrase that kept coming up for me. Cartography of survival.
But here's the hook. This is what grabbed me when I started reading the writer's room notes you sent over.
Yeah.
There is a massive contradiction at the heart of this entire project. A disconnect between what you hear and what was actually happening.
It's the core paradox. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Walk us through that. Because if I'm just listening, track by track, I'm hearing a lot of cars. It sounds like a road trip.
It's everywhere. The lyrics are just drenched in it. You have lines about engines running, the midnight escape, keys in hand, sitting in the driver's seat.
Right.
If you listen on a surface level, you're listening to a getaway movie. It implies speed. It implies agency. It implies if things get bad, you just stomp on the gas and you're gone.
I want to drive away, right. It's that classic escape fantasy. If I don't like my life, I can just get on a highway and blur the background.
Precisely. But then we open the writer's room commentary, and Hi-Fi reveals the reality of how this recovery actually happened, specifically the exposure therapy.
Regarding their past in the sex work industry.
Yes, and the reality, there was no car.
That stopped me in my tracks when I read it. Just, wow.
We weren't driving. They were walking. When they went back to face these traumatic locations, the hotels, the street corners, the specific geography of that past life, they did it all on foot.
And that changes the physics of the entire album for me. Because the difference between driving past a trauma and walking past it, that is not a small difference.
No.
That's a fundamental shift in how you experience the world.
It's the difference between watching a movie and being in the movie. Think about the neurology of it. In a car, you're sealed off.
Right.
You have a lock on the door, climate control, and most importantly, velocity. You can blur the world. If you panic, you press the pedal, and the scary thing is behind you in 3 seconds.
But walking is slow. You're exposed. You have to smell the air. You have to feel the temperature. You can't just zoom out of the frame if you get scared.
And that is why the artist calls this a cartography of survival.
Yeah.
By walking, they remove the option of escape. They force themselves to exist in that environment until the environment lost its power.
So the songs use the metaphor of the car for what they wanted: autonomy, speed, power.
But the physical act itself was about total vulnerability.
It's almost like the music provides the armor that the body didn't have, or the guitars are the engine they wish they had.
That's a great way to put it. The music is the vehicle, but the body is on the pavement.
So, okay, let's map this out. The sources break this album down into specific phases, almost like a clinical treatment plan.
Or movie script, yeah.
We start with phase 1, the inciting incident, which begins with track 1, I need to do this.
Right. Now, usually an inciting incident in a story is, an explosion, an alien invasion, a mysterious phone call.
Yeah.
But the lyrics here describe something very different.
It's quiet. It's uncomfortably quiet.
It is. The lyrics are so specific about the dates. July 1st, August, September. It's describing stagnation. The artist talks about watching the seasons die while being locked inside.
It's paralysis, not an explosion.
Exactly.
There's that line, safe as a cage I built. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, even without the specific trauma Hi-Fi is talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
You build these walls to keep the bad stuff out, but eventually you realize you just locked yourself in.
That is the textbook freeze response. We talk about fight or flight all the time. It's a buzzword. But for deep-seated trauma, freeze is often the default setting. The nervous system just shuts down.
Time stops.
Time stops. You aren't living, you're just existing in a loop.
So how do you break the freeze? Because the notes from the artist here are really interesting. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't like they sat down with the calendar and went, okay, Tuesday is recovery day.
No. Hi-Fi says it wasn't a strategy, it was an instinct. The body just started moving toward the door. And I think that's such a crucial insight for anyone waiting for the perfect time to start getting better.
The mind wasn't ready.
The mind wasn't ready. The body just decided, we are leaving.
It's messy. We want recovery to be this neat checklist. Step 1, step 2, success. But here, it's a desperate, messy instinct.
Which propels us right into the second track, the map. And this is where the timeline gets a little wibbly-wobbly.
Right, because the song describes this very clear action. Laying a map on the kitchen floor, marking the danger zones with red X's, where the monsters live.
Sounds like a military operation. Organized.
But the commentary tells us that map didn't exist. Not yet.
Right.
Ti-Fi admits, I wrote the map after the walking was done. Which, I have to say, that confused me at first.
Yeah.
Why write a song about planning a route if you didn't actually plan it?
Because the song is a tool for the future. The insight here is really profound. You can't draw the map of the territory until you've survived the walk.
Oh, wait.
We all want the map before we start. We want to know where the potholes are, where the monsters are so we can avoid them. But Ti-Fi is saying, no, the map is the trophy. You get it after you finish the level.
That completely flips the whole concept of planning on its head. It suggests that doing it messy is the only way to eventually do it clean.
It structures the chaos in hindsight. It's proof of resilience. I survived this without a map, so now I can draw one for next time.
It turns a memory into a document. Okay, so they've left the house. Broken the freeze. No map, but they're moving. Now we enter phase 2. The notes call this the exposure.
And this is where that walking reality we talked about really hits home.
This is a somatic experience. Track 3, Room 24.
Room 24 is obviously not just a number to stand in.
For the specific locations of the trauma. The hotels, the rooms, the corners.
And because they're walking, the sensory details in the lyrics become just overwhelming. It's not abstract fear anymore. The lyrics list things like cheap soap, old cigarettes, yellow lamplight.
Why those details? Why the soap? Why not just the events?
Because that's how trauma memory works. It's associative. The brain encodes the smell of the soap just as deeply as the scary event itself. So when you're doing exposure therapy walking back in, those sensory triggers hit first.
It's not a story, it's a smell. It's a quality of light.
It's a flood.
A flood.
Ti-Fi calls it a flood rather than a controlled experiment. Usually this is done with a therapist, very slowly. But here, without a car, without a barrier, the artist is just immersed, wading through it.
And that flood crest in track 4, the nausea is rising. I mean, just the title, it's supposed to be unpleasant.
This is the peak of the bell curve. This is the somatic cost. The body is just screaming, run away. The lyrics use that car metaphor again. Engine on, engine off.
That desire to flee.
That split-second biological desire.
But there is no engine.
Right, that's the horror and the bravery of it. The artist says they had to promise myself I would stay.
That phrase sticks with me. Promise myself I would stay. Standing on a sidewalk, shaking, nausea rising, and just planting your feet.
It's about overriding the amygdala. Your lizard brain is sending 10,000 signals that you are about to die. It is flooding you with cortisol, and you have to stand there and prove it wrong.
You have to endure it.
You endure the physical sickness until the brain realizes, wait, nothing is attacking us.
That sounds exhausting.
It is physically exhausting. It burns through adrenaline like crazy. Which brings us to the pivot point of the whole album. Track 5. Regulation is a river.
This is the come down, the panic attack breaks.
It's the sound of the nervous system settling down. And the key lyrical realization here is so simple.
It's just adrenaline.
It's just adrenaline. It seems simple, but in the moment, it's impossible to see that. You feel that panic and think, I am in danger.
But the song argues, no, this is just chemistry.
It's just a chemical dump. And the artist actually embeds a tool into the track to deal with it. The lyrics cite a specific breathing pattern.
Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, out for 8. Is that a real thing or just a rhyme?
No, it's a very real, clinically backed technique. It's the 4-7-8 technique, designed to forcefully activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
Okay, break that down for us non-scientists.
So when you're panicked, you're in sympathetic mode, gas pedal down. Extending the exhale, that count of 8, signals the vagus nerve to slow the heart rate. It's like manually shifting gears to slow down a car.
So the song isn't just describing recovery, it's a utility. If you sang along to it, you would physiologically calm yourself down.
Exactly. Ti-Fi notes that writing this song was how they regulated the memory. They took a terrifying, chaotic physical experience and they forced it into a time signature. They gave it a melody.
They tamed it.
They tamed it.
Fascinating. Turning a panic attack into a bridge and a chorus. So we've gone from paralysis through the messy exit into the flood of exposure, and now we've regulated. We're breathing again.
And this allows us to move into phase 3, reclamation and autonomy.
This feels like where the energy shifts. The victim mentality starts to dissolve.
It starts with track 6, taking the keys back. And remember,
There are no actual keys.
still walking.
Still walking. But the metaphor is about agency. Who is driving the bus? And the notes call this the crucial realization, separating the then from the now.
That's the holy grail, isn't it? Standing on that sidewalk, looking at that hotel and realizing that building is just bricks. The monsters aren't in there anymore.
The lyrics say, the monsters moved out of town. It's the realization that the past is a ghost. A ghost can haunt you, but it can't actually hurt you. And once that clicks, once you realize the building is just a pile of bricks, the fear turns into something else.
Anger.
Into anger.
Yeah, it turns into power.
Yeah.
And that gives us track 7, breaking the mold.
This is the rock anthem. This is where the guitars finally get off the leash.
It's the release of tension. And the lyrics here are incredibly direct about the artist's past in the industry. I am not for sale. I am not for rent.
That is such a powerful reclamation. It's directly fighting against the idea of being a commodity.
Ti-Fi talks about fighting the narrative of being damaged goods. In any situation where a person is objectified, there's this lingering shame that you are somehow less than, that you were bought and sold so you have no value left.
And this track is the aggressive rejection of that. It's saying, I own myself.
It's the fight response, but it's being used in a healthy way, fighting for your own identity.
And this is what I appreciate about the album's arc. Ti-Fi doesn't just leave us there.
Right. Because you can't live there.
You can't live in fight mode forever. You can't just walk around angry and armored up. That's not a life. That's just a different kind of war.
It's a common trap in recovery. People think healing means becoming bulletproof, that you have to become stone. But Road to Recovery argues the exact opposite in Phase 4.
This is the vulnerability phase. Track 8, Salt and the Wind.
This brings us back to that sensory experience of walking, but now it's not scary. I exposed every nerve to the salt and the wind.
The paradox of strength.
Exactly. The artist realizes that wearing armor being tough actually prevents you from feeling the world.
If you're bulletproof, you can't feel the breeze.
Correct. The lyrics say, I'm not bulletproof, I'm soft and I'm real. To be able to feel the wind on your face without flinching, that is what safety actually feels like. Safety isn't a bunker.
It's being able to stand outside without a coat.
Yes.
And that vulnerability leads to what is honestly my favorite concept in this entire deep dive. Track 9, Reclaiming.
The mundane magic.
It sounds like an oxymoron. We want magic to be sparkling, it explodes.
But here, it is the most understated victory and also the most important one. The song isn't about climbing a mountain or slaying a dragon. It's about ordering a coffee.
Went into the diner, ordered a coffee, didn't worry at all.
It sounds so boring, but for someone with a significant trauma history, boring is the ultimate luxury. The artist describes walking past an alleyway that used to terrify them and just keeping walking.
Just being a person in comfortable shoes reading the news.
I love that image. Comfortable shoes.
It's so normal. And that's the point.
The drama is gone. You aren't a soldier. You aren't even a survivor in that moment because that's still an identity that weighs something. In this track, you're just a customer.
That's mundane magic.
That's it.
It reminds me of that idea that the opposite of trauma isn't triumph, it's just normalcy.
Precisely. The freedom to be average. The freedom to have a mundane Tuesday and not be scanning the exits.
Which brings us to the end of the road. The epilogue. Track 10. The Geography of My Past.
This is the final verdict on those locations. The artist looks back at the map and says, the map is just paper. The street is just stone.
It neutralizes everything.
It strips the locations of their magical, evil power. They are just coordinates. And the most powerful line, for me, comes right at the end.
I walked through the mire and I didn't feel shame.
I didn't carry the shame out with me.
That is a massive statement.
It implies that the shame belonged to the place or the past, but it doesn't belong to the person anymore. They walked in with it, left it on the pavement, and walked out clean.
And the source notes say, the work is finished.
Yeah, Ti-Fi is very clear. They don't need to go back there to prove anything anymore. They did the walk. They survived it. It's done.
It's such a satisfying arc.
Yeah.
We started with, I need to do this, that messy, desperate instinct, and we ended with, the street is just stone. Neutral geography.
And think about that journey. It wasn't about speeding up. It was about slowing down. It wasn't about driving away from the fear. It was about walking into it, feeling the nausea, regulating the breath, and standing there until the monsters moved out of town.
It really makes you rethink how we handle our own baggage. We always want the midnight escape. We want to put the keys in the ignition and just drive away from our problems.
We want the fast forward button, but you can't drive away from history. You have to walk through it. And the fascinating thing about the map concept we started with is that we always want the map before we start.
We want the guarantee. We want the Waze app for our trauma.
But Typhi is saying you can't draw the map until you've survived the terrain.
The map is the trophy.
The map is the trophy. It's what you get after the work is done. It's the proof that you know the way, not the instructions for the first time.
That is actually really comforting, because it means if you feel like you don't have a plan or you don't have a map and you're just moving on messy instinct,
That's okay.
that's how it starts.
That is exactly how it starts. The plan is something you look back on, not something you look forward to.
Well, I think that gives us a lot to think about. Whether you are recovering from something massive or just trying to get through a difficult week, maybe look for that mundane magic.
Put on your comfortable shoes, order the coffee, and enjoy just being a civilian in your own life.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive into Road to Recovery. We'll see you on the next one.